Welcome to Mystic Musings with Tobie Hewitt. I'm Tobie Hewitt, and I'm your guide through time and space and all points in between. Mystic Musings will give you insight into who you are, why you are here, how to live an authentic life, and where you fit into the universe around you. Join me on this path of mystical exploration. Welcome to episode 77 of Mystic Musings with Tobie Hewitt. This week, we will continue to consider Pathwork as we continue our mystic journey. You may be wondering by now, if you are a regular listener, why I am using the political climate to juxtapose esoteric pathwork. Well, because there can be no better example of, first, how the universe creates situations for us to overcome and, in doing so, to learn from. And second, because there is much to be gained from watching the ego in action as we develop our intuition. We are preparing for a massive shift in the earth plane paradigm. We have been wallowing around in the cesspool-like disasters, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, of egos gone awry since time became measured by those same egos, i.e., not measured as nature intended, sunrises and sets, the year in our lives progressing based on the span of light and dark available to us. No, we needed to impose ourselves on the very measure of time, and those with more nefarious issues of control needed to impose their egos on us. And through all this, we, as spirits, are here to learn and to grow. And we can take it thoroughly seriously, or we can try to see the humor in muddling through and, in the end, finally realizing what it was all about. First, we must understand that this is one country on one planet within one universe of many. There are many planes and dimensions. As I have said previously, I am not a physicist, though as the daughter of a paleontologist, I have a certain perspective on the physical world. And he developed a certain perspective on spirituality after his passing. He had for years thought that what I knew to be true was just silliness, despite being given examples that verified through validated information received that there was indeed something after the transition known as death. Well, within hours of his passing, he somehow started letting me know I was right. And he spent the first year after his passing letting it be known to me that he was not dead in the scientifically accepted sense, i.e., he created manifestations that only he and I would have known were significant. Like the appearance of yellow roses on a bush I didn't even know I had in my garden on significant days during the year. He had given me baby yellow roses on the day I was born. Anything else in this genre would have meant nothing to me. But I digress. There are many more realities than what we are aware of, or maybe can even conceive of. When we watch or read science fiction, I sometimes think it is not just interpretation of information, but the actual transmission of thought from other dimensions seeping into the welcoming mind of the incarnated spirit, creative spirit, who is able to capture these ideas in whatever form they are most comfortable, or perhaps inspired to try to communicate in some fashion in order to share the images and information they receive. I think sometimes that our need to verify everything in a physical capacity limits our knowledge base, because a lot of this information is coming through the intuitive mind, which is not given as much credibility as something we can send a rocket to, or which we can place in a test tube and shake to prove it is real. Perhaps our art and our writing is the best communication from these distant places, which may be indeed no further than the space around us, as these dimensions may be layered around us and perhaps in us, as a part of that vastness lives within us as our spirit. It is complicated, but it bears examination or lacking that, a measure of thought that could lead us to opening our minds, both ego and intuitive, to a larger reality of which we are a part. The sheer enormity of what surrounds us and of which we are a part should, it is hoped, change our perspective of why we are here and why we are experiencing the joys, sorrows, challenges, and successes of our world. I look out the window at the massive amount of snow that has fallen in this past week. Each snowflake is different, but each is a part of the growing snowfield that extends from the window where I am working to the river where the geese are gathering. There is a design to be noted, each an individual as part of a larger whole. The image of the Fibonacci spiral has now entered my mind, and I will need to ask further what this means in the current context, and perhaps make this the idea of my next podcast. There is a dynamic plan, and the universe leaves signs of order despite apparent to us chaos. If we pay attention, we can see that the natural world around us repeats this spiral over and over again, and indeed, as well, other signs and ideas. The interconnectedness of trees, for example, also gives us instruction of the individual as part of a much wider whole. As are the trees, we too are all interconnected, and in this, we should be able to work together to create the change we wish to see in the world. But this does not yet seem to be a part of the wider plan. To learn the lessons we are here to learn, we must be challenged in ways we cannot fathom, and which seem at times cruel in their manifestation. We are kept unaware about some realities so that we can best learn what we need to know to allow our spirits to grow. Our current political climate and its focus on maintaining inequality serves to increase our need to focus on compassion and empathy toward others, bringing everyone to the table and allowing us to acknowledge that we are indeed connected, one to the other, like a forest of trees. There is the added balance between what most would consider good and evil, but which I consider the light and the darkness, where the never-incarnated entities live and thrive on the fear created by the current situations. They also thrive on the darkness inherent in the ego-driven being. As we move forward through these times, these are more ideas to learn from and to urge us to increase our individual and communal light. Please join me next week for episode 78 of Mystic Musings with Tobie Hewitt, when Spirit and I will share aspects of Pathwork as we continue our mystic journey. Thanks for listening to this episode of Mystic Musings. Please join me every week to continue our exploration of all things mystical that can help you have a more practical and magical life. Please visit my website, tobiehewitt.com, for more information and to read my blog postings. And join me also at pathwaystomindfulness.org to learn how you can schedule a presentation. I'm available for mindfulness training, demonstrations of psychic abilities, and individual readings. I also have a number of books on mystical topics on Amazon.com. I look forward to hearing from you and answering your questions. Please contact me through tobiehewitt.com.